basically I'm here to just share my story with you and the things that I've achieved. I'm 31 years old, still young. And these are some of the quotes that have got me through my life. So first let me just tell you a little bit about myself. All right, so I grew up in a family where my father was a doctor and a colonel in the army. My mother was a housewife until I was about 10 or so. I have a sister. She's artistic. I wasn't, so my dad put a lot of hope in me to be the scientist in the family. He wanted me to be a doctor, a pharmacist or something. And it's not what I wanted to do. I think he thought I wanted to be a scientist because every time he told me something, I would always go, why? And then he'd answer the question, I'd go, but why? And but why, and but why, and but why? So there was a lot of pressure on me to be the doctor in the family or the pharmacist or something. When I was 17 years old and I graduated, my dad was like, okay, what do you want to be? Where do you want to go? And I was like, well, I really don't know because I don't know what I want to do with the rest of my life. And I was afraid that if I did accounting, then I'd have to be an accountant. If I did architecture, I had to be an architect. And I did not know what I wanted to do with my life. Then at 18, I was like, well, maybe I can be a zoologist. And my dad was like, well, you know, to be quite honest, I'm not going to pay $250,000 for you to stick your hand in like elephant shit all year round. So I was like, okay, fine. So, you know, I had a good debate with my dad a lot of times, and he tried to negotiate with me. He actually gave me a pros and cons list of why I should be a doctor or why I should be a pharmacist because he was thinking of it in a business sense. So we struck a deal and I said, fine, I would do pharmacy for a year and then would see how it goes. So I did pharmacy for a year and I hated it. I did science stream all the way through. I was very good at my sciences. I did well in my A-levels for my chemistry and whatnot. So he thought it was a natural progression for me to be a pharmacist. I tried that for a year, but I didn't enjoy it. So I came back. I studied in the UK, by the way, University of London. I did pharmacy there for a year. Came back and I was 20 years old and my dad was like, okay, so what do you want to do now or get a job? And then I felt a bit pressured because I didn't feel like getting a job. I was 20 years old. I wanted to party all night long and have all kinds of fun. So I think there was a point, one day I was reading the papers and I was flipping through and this was like a stroke of luck. I think I saw an ad for biotechnology and I was like, ooh, what's that? What's biotechnology? So I looked through it and it was perfect. I thought the timing was perfect because in biotechnology, you covered this whole range of scientific subjects. You did things from microbiology to ecology to molecular chemistry. And the major in this instance was genetics. So I was like, okay, this is perfect because the scientific stream scope was so advanced. So I didn't have to specialize in anything specific, but I will major in genetics. So what I'll do is I'll study this biotechnology and I'll major in genetics, and then when I graduate, people will think I'm really smart. They'd hire me for anything. So I didn't have to choose a profession. I chose a course, but I didn't have to choose a profession, and my dad was like, that's a crappy plan. But if you're going to be a geneticist, that sounds good. So I did that. I graduated in biotechnology and I majored in genetics. Until today, my dad calls me a geneticist to people, but that's not what I do. I actually work here at Mindvalley, by the way. I forgot to say what I did. I'm the CEO of Mindvalley Engage, which is the external sales department here in Mindvalley. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later on. So my first job interview, I was very excited because I was like, I'm going to prove my dad right. I'm going to go and tell this person I'm a geneticist, and they're going to hire me on the spot. And guess what they did? So I said, you know, they were like, well, you're a geneticist. Why do you want to come and work here? It was actually for a publishing house. And they did a whole bunch of, here in Malaysia, so they had a whole bunch of, they published the Astro Guide at that time. If some of you remember, there was an Astro Guide. There was a magazine called Men's Review. And at that time, they had just started this new magazine called Cosmetic Surgery and Beauty. And they were like, well, why do you want to join us? You're a geneticist. I was like, yeah, exactly. So I can do anything. And they were like, okay. And they hired me. The term at that time, the title that I had was a coordinator. And they gave me 3 months probation. And they said, okay, so you're going to do some writing on the side, and you're going to do some other stuff that we need you to do on the side. And this included things like licking stamps, you know, putting addresses on envelopes, or writing a few things here and there. Sometimes they'd be like, oh, someone's coming to the office, can you make them tea? So I did things like that. But, you know, I was always volunteering for, if I saw something that someone was doing, I'd be like, oh, can I do that? Can I do that? Can I do that? And I saw some of the magazines that they had, and I got quite interested in what they were doing. So I said, after 3 months, I was like, hey, can you guys keep me? I'd like to write for that magazine. I mean, if you think about it, geneticist, cosmetic surgery, and beauty magazine, like, right? So they were like, yeah, okay, cool. So they hired me as a writer. So I was a writer. Unfortunately, my desk was next to the editor, and there were some things that I did. And this was my first job. When I got this job, it was in June 2005, so I was 24 years old. And I always made myself available. I would always arrive at 9 o'clock sharp, and I would never leave before the editor did. So if he happened to stay until 10 p.m., goddamn, I'd be sitting there at 10 p.m. Hey, boss, what you doing over there? Do you need any help? That's one thing I always did. I always volunteered. So no matter what somebody gave me, I did it. I did it on time, and I volunteered for extra stuff. So then, you know, I was always volunteering for stuff. I did a lot of reading, and then like a year later, they were like, hey, do you want to be the assistant editor of the magazine? And I was like, wow, I jumped past senior writer, and I get to be assistant editor? And they're like, yeah, okay, cool. So I did that for another year, and by this point, I already had my eye on the editor position. I was like, well, why not? If you're gonna aim for something, aim for the sky. That's the highest that you're gonna climb. The way I looked at it, I always thought that if you're gonna get a job, you start at the bottom, you gotta end at the top. So when I joined the magazine, I was like, well, what's at the top? I guess editor. And then the way life had it, a year later, they gave me the job for the editor. The editor happened to go back to the States. It was just before my 26th birthday, and I thought this was a major accomplishment, so I was very excited about that. Did that for about 2.5 years, and then I decided to leave the magazine. By the time I left, this magazine, Cosmetic Surgery and Beauty Magazine, was the first English publication of its kind on aesthetic medicine. By the time I left, the magazine was published in Chinese, in Mandarin, sold in Singapore as well, and also in Bahasa Indonesia, and sold in Indonesia. So I was very proud of some of the things that I accomplished there. Whoa. This is not a self-indulgent talk, by the way, guys. I've got some real lessons to share. But after a while, I felt like I learned everything I needed to learn. I wasn't feeling challenged anymore, and a lot of my new ideas, they were not taking it in. I felt the internet was the future. I felt going online was the future, but they were just very resistant to a lot of things. And I just didn't feel intellectually stimulated anymore. And then I heard about Mindvalley. And the whole thing about Mindvalley was work can be fun. And I was like, hey, that's great, because work sucks right now. Work really did suck. I was stuck in an environment where people were miserable. They wouldn't say good morning to you. They would complain about everything around them. And I just knew I had to get out of that situation. And I was so desperate to get out of the situation that I didn't even think what the next career step would be. I didn't think that it would be the editor of another magazine. I didn't think it was going to be a writer for another magazine. I even wrote to Vishen Lakiani, who's sitting right there, who does not remember my cover letter at all, because I thought I was a literary genius. I told him about how nothing is impossible, not even time travel for now, and one day we're all going to space and go back in time, and you know, you want to meet me, and I'm not applying for the writing positions that you have open. I want you to meet me and tell me where you think I'll fit in, because I don't care what you give me, I'm going to do a goddamn good job at it. And then I got a job offer. It was for external sales manager. I was like, oh shit, I forgot to say don't give me anything but sales. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it. I already given this whole speech, I might as well do it. So they gave me the job of external sales manager, and there was no processes in place. So Mindvalley is basically an online publishing company that works with a bunch of gurus in the personal development field, and we put out a home study course, like digital media in downloadable format, and they wanted me to sell this externally, get big partners in and give them affiliate commissions anytime a sale was made, and they thought while they're at it, they give me the media buying role and give me Facebook advertising as well, and I had no knowledge in this whatsoever, but I knew that I had to figure it out, and I had to figure it out as fast as possible, because I told them I was smart and I was a geneticist, so I had to live up to that. Excuse me. So on top of that, I even remember like a month into the job, Vishen came to me and he was like, all right, we have this image database. There's like 3,000 images there. Can you please sort them into categories? And I was like, okay, well, you know, but I got obsessed with it. I sorted it out into categories. I broke it up into people and business and actions and all kinds of crazy stuff, objects, and I took all day and I did it. So anyway, fast forward, that was in October 2010, and now it's almost the end of 2011, right? No, 2012. July 13th, Friday the 13th, all right, 2012. And now I managed to drop Facebook marketing and media buying, because we figured out that there was more money in affiliate marketing. In my first year as one person, I made $2.5 million for Mindvalley, and then now less than a year after I made $2.5 million, and now I have a team of 11 people, and we've branched off into affiliate marketing. We get our authors on shows, we make money through that, and now I also have a channels team. So the Mindvalley blog has come under my team, the Finer Minds blog, which is a personal development blog, is under my team. We also run Mindvalley Insights, where we just open source all our online marketing knowledge, so we run that. And we've just started something new. It's called Global Awesomeness Report. It's on Facebook, so please go and check it out and like it. We have 10,000 fans. We launched last month. Yay! So yeah, so these quotes I'm going to share with you are actually quotes that I've carried with me all through my life as a kid. As an adult now, I have new quotes, but maybe I'll share that at the next Incitement. But for now, just some quotes that I think can help you be successful if you want to be successful as well. So my quote collection for success. No limits. This is a quote by Muhammad Ali, although this is debatable, right, Vishen? Some other guy called John apparently is arguing for the rights of this quote. So, impossible is just a big word thrown around by small men who find it easier to live in the world they've been given than to explore the power they have to change it. Impossible is not a fact, it's an opinion. Impossible is not a declaration, it's a dare. Impossible is potential, impossible is temporary, and impossible is nothing. So there are no limitations holding you back from living the life you truly want, despite your apparent circumstances. It doesn't matter the gender or the race or the religion of anyone. There is no bias that holds us back from our dreams. We are all equal in capabilities. What I can do, you can do, and vice versa. It will involve a lot of hard work, and it could take a very long time to accomplish, but if you try hard enough and you never give up, it can be done. Break free from the stereotype. Do not let what anyone says get in the way of you moving forward and going for your dreams. And I always tell this to my team, and I think they will vouch for that. I always say nothing is impossible, especially if somebody has done it before you. If you want to go to the moon, you can go to the moon, because Neil Armstrong already did. You want to build a plane? You can. The Orville buds did. You know, you can do anything, especially if somebody else has done it before you. And if you can do something that nobody else can, well, that's even better. So, next point. There are no rules. Now, good girls don't make history. I love this quote, but please don't get me wrong. I'm not asking you to commit a crime or dance on a bar top and flash your boobies or, you know, get in a wet t-shirt contest. No. The point of this is to say that break through your mental conditioning, what society or possibly even your parents or religion has taught you about what's possible, what's not, how things should or should not be done. As long as you don't cheat, you don't lie, you don't steal, you don't terrorize, you don't hurt, you don't kill, and you are absolutely honest, then what you're doing is okay. This is one of my favorite quotes by Benjamin Franklin. That's a very nice picture of him over there. If you would not be forgotten as soon as you are dead and rotten, either write things worth reading or do things worth writing. The point here is that it doesn't matter what you do as long as you do something. But the additional point is also you could also choose to aim for the sky. Maybe even go down in history for it, for greater good, of course. You know, don't go and blow up a building and, you know, be remembered for that. And the best part is you call the shots for how high you can fly. At the end of the day, what matters most is what you believe you can do and that you actually try to do it. Always give it your all when you do something, no matter what it is. We all need to financially support ourselves. Yeah, we all got to get a job. So it doesn't matter what that job is. I've always been aware of that and embedded the belief that no matter what job I had to take, even if I had to be a garbage collector, I always said I'm going to be the best damn garbage collector on the block. I may not be passionate about a particular role or task, but one thing I was passionate about was doing a good job. So even if I didn't like sweeping the floor, but I was going to sweep the floor real good. All right, that's another point. Know what you want. Life is simple and deep, but most make it shallow and complex. Don't overcomplicate things. Set your goals and keep it simple. If you're going to build a long list, you're just going to set yourself up for failure. So let me just ask you this. Do you know these answers? What motivates and inspires you? What do you love to do? What do you want to achieve in life? And how do you define success? So I asked myself this question about 6 years ago, and these were the answers that I came up with. My top 5 goals in life. To do what I love and love what I do. I wanted to make sure that if I went to work, I wanted to have a bounce in my step. I did not want to dread going into work, and I'm happy to say today at 31 years old, I walk into the office and I smell the coffee and I run to my team and we give each other hugs. I love what I do. To be financially independent and debt-free. It didn't matter how much money I made, but what mattered was that I could pay for myself and I did not owe anybody money. I did not want to feel that at the end of the month I had to pay someone for something. And I'm proud to say as well, at 31, I am debt-free. To be able to provide for my family with anything they need, I think this speaks for itself. To make sure the people I love know that I love them. To spend quality time with anyone who is in my space. If someone's talking to me, I try to listen. Although sometimes I have very tired days and my partner who's over there knows that sometimes I'm not listening, so I'm still working on that, honey. To remain honest and kind throughout and keep the world in greater peace at all times. Now, life is not easy. You're gonna meet people, you're gonna have friction, you're gonna get stressed out, but you know we have to reach a stage at the end of the day where we can all just do this and we say, peace, man, peace. It's true. All right, nothing in life comes easy. Great heights reached and kept were not attained through sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upward in the night. I've noticed that too often people want so many things in life, but they're not willing to work hard enough for it. Nothing in life comes easy. There are no two ways about this. Sacrifices have to be made. The question is, can you handle it? If you want something bad enough, you have to work, work, work. And this is a fact, fact, fact. Eliminate the ego associated with your work role or title. It's what you can show for it that counts, the real value behind the work that you do. Besides, to get to the top, you have to start at the bottom anyway. And it will take a lot of time, a lot of sheer pig-headed determination and stubbornness, a lot of passion, and you'll get there. Or at least where you feel you want to be. That's what matters. Nothing happens by chance. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Now, I know a lot of people who said, okay, you made editor before the age of 26, you're a CEO at 31, you must have been at the right place at the right time. This is not true. I worked my butt off, and I still do. When I first started working at the magazine and I was just a coordinator, I would say I was working 14, 15-hour days. Today, I work 12, 13-hour days. It doesn't stop. But I'm working towards stopping. But at least that's my goal now. But the point is, because I still have bigger goals that I have to go for, so I'm going to keep working hard until I get there. So don't give up. No one gets to the top because they were lucky. They just happen to be ready to walk through the doors that open for them in that moment. Without realizing it, we have a lot of doors opening for us every day. But because we're not prepared, we don't walk through. This doesn't mean that we're not lucky. It just means that it wasn't for us at that time and we were not prepared. So start learning, prepared to know everything you need to know about what you love and what you want to do. Then when the opportunity presents itself, you'll know you're ready and you'll walk through those doors. Also, when you learn, you start to know a lot of things yourself. So, you know, when you're in a conversation with people, when you're at meetings, you actually feel like you're effectively contributing. So when you know what you're supposed to know, your confidence levels will start to rise and your stress levels will start to drop. A lot of times we're very frustrated because we don't know what's going on around us, but if you start to educate yourself, you'll start to feel real good. You are a reality architect. My favorite quote by Bruce Lee, to hell with circumstances, I create opportunities. Don't get frustrated with the way things are or the way people around you are. You are the master of your own destiny. If you don't like something, change it. There is no point sitting around and passively complaining and bitching. You're just continuing to facilitate your own dissatisfaction and other people's as well. If your surroundings, work, and people in your life are not making you happy, take some self-reflection first, very important, because when you point at someone, you're actually pointing back at yourself. So take some self-reflection first and create your ideal environment. It's okay to fail. Well, I know it's coming from an alcoholic, Sir Winston Churchill, but maybe that's something we have in common. Success is the ability to move from one failure to the next with enthusiasm. Don't be discouraged if something didn't work out the first, second, or even the third time around. Keep trying, persevere, and never give up. I don't mean keep trying to do the same thing over and over again if it's not working. I mean, if it's broken, don't try to fix it. You got to move on. Pivot, adapt, and innovate, and try something new. However, patience is key. If you want something, don't expect it to happen overnight. It could take months, even years, and before you see the fruit of any physical or emotional investment you make for yourself. Don't harp about why something went wrong or why it's not going right. You're just standing in the way of your own bright future if you do that, and wasting time rather than actually getting something done. Identify, deal with the problem effectively and diplomatically. Don't go and piss people off while you're doing it. And then decide how and why this will never happen again, and do something great. Always, and this is another good point, always plan for the best and the worst. If you're going to head in this direction, you got to balance it out. This is if things go well, I'm going to do this. If things don't go well, I'm going to do this. That way, if something goes wrong, you react really fast and you get shit done. My last point, do not let fear hold you back. The only real prison is fear, and the only real freedom is freedom from fear. You'll never know anything unless you try. Don't be so quick to say this will not work. And remember, it's okay to fail, it's okay to make mistakes, it's okay to not get things right. The most important thing is that you learn, you innovate, and you move on. Now I'm going to leave you with some ending tips. And until today, I am still like this. So you have to be like this too, I think. Be like me. Be curious. Never stop asking questions. Keep with the changing times. Don't become a dinosaur. Innovate. Always have a good sense of humor, learn to laugh at the circumstances around you, and also learn how to laugh at yourself. I make mistakes all the time, I share with my team, and we have a good laugh. At least I think we do. And last of all, very important, eliminate the word try. You either do something or you don't. Thank you.